And a very happy Wednesday to you at 12:08 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show, broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios. Mr. Randy Wangs at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, while this doesn't rise to the level of a Rob Bonta, I still want to give a huge shout out to San Francisco Mayor London Breed for her bucket full of cliches.
At the end of the day, when the decisions are made, it's then time for us to roll up our sleeves and get the job done.
Congratulations, Mayor Breed. You took so long to say so little.
No one's going to be Bonta, though.
Every type of leadership is about meeting the moment and rising to the occasion, and this is what's required. And so we're stepping up and getting it done.
I wonder if Tony Robbins is ever sitting in his living room with his feet up on the couch, watching the news, and he turns to the wife and he says, "Look at these hacks."
It is an incredible talent to move your mouth that much and not say anything of actual substance.
800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, yesterday, thanks to the good folks over at Southern California Edison and their forward thinking, I was without power all day at one of the hottest days of the year. Fortunately, the power is back on, and I didn't melt. But there is a heat wave that's not only sweeping through Southern California, it's sweeping through the nation. It is so hot outside that you sweat up a storm walking from your house to your mailbox just to get the mail. In fact, it's so hot that even the criminals are nuding up, which is the theme of today's KABC Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, today's edition of the Crime Blotter involves thieves and criminals whose fruit was decidedly outside the loom.
That's right. We start in East Hollywood at an apartment building where a naked man has been terrorizing tenants, trying to break into their units, doing unspeakable things, doing the most with his hands right outside the pool.
Doing the most with his hands.
And the landlord says, nothing we can do about it. And the LAPD says, nothing we can do about it.
Well, let's find out what happened.
For more, here's Fox 11.
None of us can get any sleep because we're actually keeping an eye out for each other.
He looks very scary because he's walking around or roaming around our building naked.
Well, it is hot outside in his defense.
This video of an unidentified man walking naked through an apartment complex on North Serrano Avenue in East Hollywood was caught on surveillance video and given to Fox 11.
He's not wearing a mask. Can't we figure out how to identify him?
I'll tell you, in the old days when they used to crack down on crime, walking around in public naked could make you a registered sex offender. Now the cops won't even respond.
We're told it was shot midnight, July 16th. According to neighbors, the man, who is not a resident, has been spotted in their complex 5 times. Sometimes he's dressed, but they still consider him menacing.
But sometimes he's not dressed.
Depends on the day and the temperature.
Neighbors told us they're so terrified they're carrying tasers as self-defense.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's one thing you can't allege.
What's that?
That he was going to the waistband.
Oh, boy. That's quite the taser.
Just be careful where you tase him, because if he's naked, well, there are all kinds of possibilities.
You know what? Go nuts.
Neighbors told us they're so terrified they're carrying tasers as self-defense. They've installed security cameras at their own expense and track his movements on WhatsApp like neighborhood sleuths.
Next, we're going to have a true crime podcast about the naked Hollywood man.
Is there an app for nude creepers?
There will be now. But they're all messy. They know that they're helpless. The only thing they can do is gossip about when they've seen the naked man, because no one's going to help them from the naked man. And what are they supposed to do? Confront the naked man in all his glory?
I don't know if I'd want to draw that straw.
They've installed security cameras at their own expense and track his movements on WhatsApp like neighborhood sleuths. One act, recently caught on camera, was especially disturbing to the people who live here.
If you get kids in the car, flip to kiss for just a minute or two.
He's been running around naked. Unfortunately, we've had to see videos of him actually masturbating in front of the pool.
Whoa!
Doing the most with his hands.
And you know what? I don't like to use that phrase too much on the air, so we're going to do a little editing right here just because I want to make sure that this is a family-friendly show. So why don't we take the M word out of this rap from Fox 11, because no one needs to hear that at lunchtime.
To see videos of him actually
We take it right here, and there we go. Let's see if this works.
see videos of him actually
Doing the most with his hands.
in front of the pool completely naked.
Okay, that's English we can use in front of the Queen.
That's right. Okay, kids can listen again.
We've had to see videos of him actually
Doing the most with his hands.
in front of the pool completely naked. That's something that no one wants to ever see, especially, I mean, it's just there's children in the building.
How is this not a crime?
I cannot imagine why the LAPD wouldn't do something about this.
You've got the guy on video doing that in a public place, in an apartment building, in front of a pool.
Repeatedly.
I mean, it's just there's children in the building.
Neighbors say the management company say
Don't go swimming, kids.
Neighbors say the management company say
Even chlorine can't unclean that pool.
What do you do if you're the lifeguard?
Neighbors say the management company say there's little it can do. They also say the LAPD.
Boy, it's interesting how many times an HOA likes to act like a dictatorship until someone in your building is actually in danger. Then there's nothing you can do.
It's like the entire state has just collectively given up. The cops have given up. The HOA has given up. The DA has given up. Everyone's just waving the white flag. Nobody cares.
Neighbors say the management company say there's little it can do. They also say the LAPD has been little help.
Come on.
Sounds
LAPD.
like it.
What the hell? This is, I believe, East Hollywood is the district of one Hugo Soto Martinez.
Yeah, clap that up.
Maybe that's why the LAPD can't do anything.
The naked guy's one of his constituents.
How is this naked man getting into the building where the doors have locks? Neighbors point to this unit, Unit 101, where a new tenant recently moved in.
Prostitute?
Either that or my guess is some other illicit activity.
According to them, she brought trouble.
New neighbor moves into the building. You bring the little welcome wagon, a bread basket, and find out that she's harboring a naked man that wants to break into your apartment.
Do you think the naked man could be the boyfriend?
If he can, I guess he's not getting any in the apartment.
Wouldn't that upset you if you're the woman? Because all the other neighborhood women would get a look at your man.
Maybe she likes the fact that he brandishes his weapon out there.
Sounds like it.
We don't know what his motives are for coming, but we know that he comes in and out of the apartment 101, where the lady that lives there that has erratic behavior.
The LAPD.
Oh, good. They probably meth it up in there, and then he's got to get some air.
Yes, so here's what you do if you're the HOA or you're the management company. Kick her out. Find out what she's doing that violates the rules and blow the whistle every single time. Because unless and until you kick that cancer out, the naked man isn't going anywhere.
Here's the problem, though. We don't have the eviction moratorium anymore, but the city of Los Angeles passed historic renter protections, which means even a squatter, even somebody committing crimes, it's very difficult to kick them out.
All right, here's what you need to do. This is why it's important to always keep a certain number of shady people around you. Maybe the HOA means isn't the way to get her out. Maybe she needs a little nudge.
Are you advocating for vigilante justice?
No, I'm not at all. There are ways of doing this that aren't violent at all. You can just make life very uncomfortable for this woman to the point to where she wants to move.
Everyone in that building should call Domino's and have 100 pizzas sent to her front door.
Oh, I would absolutely be relentless with her.
The LAPD told us they're aware of complaints, but could do nothing if no crime has been committed.
It's on video. He's on video in a building that children live in.
Doing the most with these hands.
In front of the pool, wearing zero clothing. That's not a crime?
Apparently not.
The LAPD told us they're aware of complaints, but could do...
Is this apartment building in East Hollywood or hedonism?
It's just anything goes.
The LAPD told us they're aware of complaints, but could do nothing if no crime has been committed. Neighbors gave us this video of the woman who they say lives in the apartment being detained by police after she allegedly threatened to blow up the building.
Oh, my.
Wow, it seems like she's the shady one.
But they said detain. They didn't say arrest because, remember, in George Gascon's Los Angeles County, making criminal threats like, I want to blow up this apartment building, not a crime.
Quite frankly.
And here's the thing. If she's this mentally unstable and these are the types of people that she keeps around her, evicting her may not be good enough. She may come back looking for retribution.
Neighbors gave us this video of the woman who they say lives in the apartment being detained by police after she allegedly threatened to blow up the building. Again, I could not confirm that with the LAPD. I knocked on the door of Unit 101, but instead of answering the door, someone inside cranked up the music.
I'm so glad I don't live in an apartment anymore.
If you live there, just move. Just move. East Hollywood is not that great. Get out of there. Go someplace else. This is not going to get better. Either she's going to blow up the building, the naked guy is going to do something to someone, or there's going to be another unhappy ending to this story.
In the meantime, residents feel trapped.
You know, what are the LAPD waiting for? For us? For someone to get attacked? For someone to get sexually assaulted?
I thought we keep talking about how we want to start preventing crime before it occurs.
Well, this is preventing crime, or at least blowing the whistle on crime, long after it occurred on videotape.
We're not showing residents' faces because they were too frightened for their identities to be known. I can tell you that I did reach out to the property management company. They said they would call me right back, but they did not.
Shocking.
You know, I don't even know what you do if you live there and you have no other alternative. What I would do, let me phrase this properly. How I would handle this is I would find out the identity of this individual. I would find out whoever their parents are, and I would shame the parents into doing something about this. I would go to their neighborhood and pass out flyers with pictures of their naked child.
And the LAPD says they need more time to investigate. People who've lived here, some of them have lived here for decades. They said they always felt safe until now. Laura Diaz reporting live from East Hollywood. Alex and Christine, back to you.
If someone's lived in that apartment for decades, it's probably one of the few buildings left that are rent controlled, which means those people aren't moving no matter what happens in there.
That's right, because the thought of moving essentially means they can't afford to live in L.A. anymore. So this is what they have to put up with on a daily basis. And you listen to the people in charge. You listen to the district attorney. You listen to the governor, and they say, oh, crime's not a problem. That's just something they talk about on Fox News. California's great. Every other state should be like California. But then this is your reality. This is what you have to live with on a daily basis. And you go through the proper channels. You call the police. You call the HOA. You call the management company. You get all of these people on the horn. You collect evidence. You provide evidence. You have them dead to rights. And they still tell you they can't do anything about it? This is dystopia. This is some kind of zombie apocalypse movie that we're living in.
The torturous thought of it being 100 degrees this week and nobody in that building can use the pool because somebody naked was standing over it.
Doing the most with these hands.
That is the hardest part for me.
Just another slice of Norman Rockwell's America. Coming up next, we're going to reopen the KABC Crime Blotter because we have another naughty naked nincompoop to talk about. But right now, it's time to reopen the KABC Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, this is yet another naked offender, the sequel.
That's right. The Skinamax stories continue. This time, it's a naked woman in Oakland who gets out of her car on the Bay Bridge and starts firing her gun and screaming obscenities.
That's not very nice.
Where she was holstering the gun, I don't want to know. But for more, here is KPIX in the Bay Area.
Okay, now to another big story today. Traffic came to a halt on the Bay Bridge during the evening commute after CHP says a naked woman ran into traffic and fired a gun, all caught on camera. This video was shared with us tonight. About 4:45 this evening, a woman ran across the eastbound lanes near the toll plaza and seemed to be shooting a weapon.
I guess it's sweeps week, or they got real lucky.
How angry would you be if you're fighting traffic? You're the man in the gray flannel suit. You're fighting traffic on the way home. The wife has a pot roast and a martini ready to go. The game is on television. And instead of enjoying your pot roast and martini and family, you're sitting on the Bay Bridge because some naked mental patient decided to have a complete meltdown.
You know, these days, especially in the Bay Area, this is like a weekly occurrence of traffic coming to a halt because of some nut on the bridge.
Now, the Bay Bridge, are we going to dateline this San Francisco or Oakland? Because this seems way more Oakland than San Francisco.
Oh, no, it's Oakland. It was titled Oakland, which means we know what's happening. Wait for it.
This is shooting. She's naked in the street and left her car right here.
So CHP says...
You said just shoot him?
This is shooting.
This bleep is shooting because she is standing on the side of the bridge firing a gun into the air.
I see.
Doesn't get much more Oakland than that.
This is shooting. She's naked in the street and left her car right here.
So CHP says the woman stopped her car on the bridge, got out, and was holding a knife and started yelling at other drivers. She got back into the car.
Someone really can't stand her commute.
You know, I have a temper in traffic, but not like this.
Do we think she started her commute naked, or she decided to declothe while sitting in a traffic jam and then couldn't take it anymore and pulled out the knife?
Well, if you're commuting home from work and you have a knife and a gun on you, my guess is you're anticipating problems.
Well, it's Oakland. You don't want to get carjacked.
She got back into the car, but officers say she stopped again near the toll plaza, got out naked, and this time was carrying a gun.
Did she not have the $8?
You think she might believe it's New Year's Eve?
Well, that would explain firing the gun into the air. What explains the nakedness at 5 p.m.?
That I can't answer.
She got back into the car, but officers say she stopped again near the toll plaza, got out naked, and this time was carrying a gun. They say she started firing shots at other cars and up into the air. She was arrested and left the bridge in an ambulance.
By the way, if you'd like to become a billionaire and you'd like to start a new business in the Bay Area, bulletproof cars.
They have those. If you go to a country where there is political instability that always seems to exist, when you rent a car or you use a car service, you can request a bulletproof car. I have a friend who's in the healthcare industry, and they have contracts in some of these suspicious countries. When he gets off the plane in one of these countries, he has a bulletproof car pick him up from the airport. And I say to him, you're not running guns. You're not selling drugs. You're not doing anything illegal. You're selling completely legal healthcare products, and you need a bulletproof car to close the deal. Isn't there an easier way to make a buck?
Well, in Oakland, whether it's the crazy naked woman on the Bay Bridge firing her gun for no reason whatsoever, or gang members shooting at each other on the 580, A bulletproof car would come in handy.
Those things weigh like 1,000,000 pounds, by the way.
They say she started firing shots at other cars and up into the air. She was arrested and left the bridge in an ambulance. At one point,
I really hope she got arrested on the San Francisco side.
Well, they're going to let her out immediately, and then she's going to be doing the same thing on the Golden Gate Bridge.
If this comes before Pam Price's desk, she'll be naked again in no time.
They should talk her into doing this on the London Bridge because occasionally that falls down.
She was arrested and left the bridge in an ambulance. At one point, all eastbound lanes were shut down so officers could look for shell casings, and the backup made traffic in the city and the East Bay horrendous. Now, this is the second time we have seen the entire stretch of one Bay Area bridge shut down in just a week. You'll probably remember the lower deck of the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge was shut down for 19 hours until Saturday morning because a man was having a mental health crisis. The backup caused a traffic nightmare all across the bay. Caltrans reopened the eastbound lanes once they rescued the man with a rope.
Jesus.
You know, they have so many people having episodes on those bridges, they put nets on the side of them.
Then why do we need to shut the thing down for 19 hours? Let them jump.
Well, because they jump and they land in the net. So that doesn't have the exclamation point at the end of their life like they were looking for. So instead of jumping off the bridge, they just have a meltdown with a gun and a knife.
I'm so glad there are no bridges on my commute.
Seriously, though, wouldn't it be better to just take the nets down?
Some might see that as inhumane. These people are going through a crisis.
Listen, if you've decided to jump off a bridge, there's nothing I can do to talk you out of it. But if you take a gun and you start shooting at other people, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, that one went a little too far. That woman actually got arrested.
But they're just going to let her out. They're going to say, oh, she's on drugs. Oh, she had a mental problem. Oh, she just needs to seek some treatment. Aren't there some ambassadors that can help her? Bring in the social workers.
What do you think she does with her prison uniform?
I don't know. My guess is she doesn't have much use for it.
When they book you, they usually, you have to give them all your personal items. So obviously her weapons, her cell phone, her keys. But she didn't have to worry about giving them any clothing because she didn't have any.
Well, that's typically what happens. You turn over your clothes. They put you in the orange jumpsuit. You do your time. And then they give you the clothes that you entered the prison with to wear as you exit.
So if she has no clothes when she gets out, do they let her keep the orange jumpsuit or do they let her walk out of prison stark naked?
I don't know. My guess is she doesn't have anyone to put money on her books.
Maybe they can roll her up in newspaper.
At what point did things become so insane here where every story in the newspaper looks like it came out of the Onion?
About 2014.
No, I think it was when we legalized marijuana, whatever the hell that was.
2016.
Okay. That's when everything started going haywire. If you want to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Well, Christy writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. In honor of Shark Week, she would just like to compare the fact that LA Metro has had nearly 50 people die of overdoses on the trains. Meanwhile, worldwide, only 57 people have been attacked by a shark this year.
So the sharks have killed 7 more than Metro?
Well, that's shark attacks. People actually killed by sharks is 5. So LA Metro is 10 times deadlier than sharks.
They should do a special on that on Shark Week. The top political story in the nation today is that the president's son, Hunter Biden, is pleading not guilty after his plea deal that he worked out with federal prosecutors was derailed. The judge raised concerns over 2 separate agreements that the president's son reached with prosecutors. But the agreement could ultimately be accepted, and they're still trying to figure out what's going to go on with that. And you know, Randy, they say there's 2 tiers of justice in this country. One for the rich and famous and one for everyone else. More often than not, if you're rich and famous, you can get away with anything, including murder. You don't believe me? Ask O.J. and Robert Blake. If you're poor, you probably have a defense attorney that barely graduated law school and barely passed the bar, and you get a raw deal. But in this case, if Hunter Biden is looking at the local news here in Los Angeles, and he sees what's going on at that apartment building in Hollywood, and he sees what's going on the Bay Bridge in Northern California, he's probably thinking to himself, in all the land, am I the only crackhead that's going to go to prison?
Oh, if only it wasn't a federal charge.
We also have some breaking, I guess, rumor involving Governor Gavin Newsom.
That's right. Somehow this is the top of Drudge's website, but maybe it's a slow day. Gavin Newsom moves to negotiate the Hollywood strikes, ? That's what this guy is hearing at showbiz411.com.
So is he saying that now that Cecily Myard Cruz didn't do the job, Fran Drescher's bringing him in as her muscle?
Apparently, Gavin Newsom was supposed to appear at the Democratic governor's meeting in Los Angeles today, where he's head of the policy committee. He didn't show up because he said back problems, allegedly. But apparently, he is busy trying to negotiate a deal between Fran Drescher and Bob Iger.
I cannot believe it, quite frankly.
My experience in this business has been this. Whenever someone who's very active just suddenly doesn't fulfill an obligation and they cite back problems as the reason why, it's some kind of plastic surgery. Some kind of cosmetic surgery. There's something going on that they don't want us to know about. I don't know if he's getting his teeth capped. I don't know if he's getting a facelift. I don't know if he's getting some Botox done. But my guess is he's in Beverly Hills at some doctor's office.
So he's probably not trying to negotiate an end to the WGA and SAG strikes.
It seems like Fran has a good handle on this.
I cannot believe it, quite frankly.
She's going to show those land barons that are upset with the peasants.
I wonder if they have the writers, now that the writers are striking, as the ones that write her script for her to read at these protests.
It's definitely possible, although I just want to believe in my heart of hearts that it is pure Fran being Fran when she starts going, wake up and smell the coffee.
I don't know. That's her, but some of the other dialogue sounds like it's coming from the writers from Downton Abbey.
Well, hey, they've got the writers on their side.
It's a tag team affair. They even have UTLA.
That's right. Cecily Myard Cruz is on the line.
And I want you to be all the way pissed off.
It's like in the old professional wrestling days, they had the Survivor Series where you took all of the big A-list stars and you put them on one team and you had them go against the heels. This is the Survivor Series of labor negotiations.
Yeah. Stand up to these people, David Zaslav.
They're a motley crew.
And they are acting like punishing feudal land barons where the peasants started to act up. And they said, we're not going to talk to you.